Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the group exhibit Hydrogen, Fuel Cells and Batteries at the Hannover Fair 2018. I invite you to sit down, order a drink and enjoy the next interview. My name is Falco Haag and I will lead you the next 20 minutes through our next talk. And our interview partners are Mr. Manfred Schwartländer as Sales Manager and Mr. Sebastian Graßhoff as Product Manager from FuelCon AG, a big player in the test and diagnostic systems for fuel cells and batteries. And both will now speak with us about automated testing for fuel cells and batteries. Please welcome with me Mr. Schwartländer and Mr. Graßhoff. And to the audience, if you have a specific question, feel free to raise your hand and join the discussion.
Well, from my side, thanks a lot for giving us the chance to introduce our company. Thank you.
Yeah, and we will start with a small overview. Can you at first shortly describe FuelCon itself?
Yes, thank you, with pleasure. Well, our company FuelCon is a small company based in the beautiful town of Magdeburg, which is between Hanover and Berlin, so quite easy to reach by car or by train. We are a small but a very smart and flexible company. We develop, design and produce our test stands all in our plant in Magdeburg, and we have the complete assembly also in our house.
Okay, nice. And which services do your company offer in general? And I mean, which companies here from the fair are potential customers for you?
Oh, I think, you know, as we deliver test stations for fuel cells and batteries, I think there's a lot of potential customers to find here. And of course, we see many known faces here because many exhibitors here are already our customers. That means everybody who is active in testing with fuel cells and batteries is in need of testing stations, and this is our place as a manufacturer for testing stations. So you will find our testing stations with many customers which are as exhibitors here on the fair.
And do you also carry out tests yourself?
Yes, we can do that. As you can imagine, as we are a designer and producer of testing stations, of course, we have test stations also in our plant. So that means it is not our main focus to test ourselves. But if we have a customer who really needs to do some testing quickly, or he wants to do some small batches testing, we can discuss about this job and we can take over, let's say, small testing services as well. We have, for example, introduced shaker systems in thermal chambers, and we have the chance to do these tests in our plant as well.
Okay, great. Let's get a little bit more into the technical details. Which properties can be analyzed in a fuel cell test station and which ones in a battery test station?
Well, for the fuel cell test station, of course, you have the media supplied, you have the gases, and well, all of our test stations are customized, but at least you have some standard configuration and parameters which you want to measure. So, like the pressure, the temperature, so the humidity of the inlet and the outlet of the test item. So this is, like to say, the standard in our test station. Or for example, the temperature of the cooling cycle or so. But of course, additionally, we can give some devices to measure some other things. The test items, for example, the single cells for a full stack, or we can provide some impedance to see the behavior of the cell during a test or at the beginning, and then you have a long-term test, and after this one you do the test again and you see what's the behavior, what's the lifetime of the fuel cell, and so this is quite important to see and to improve the fuel cells.
Okay, and in which part of the development or production process such tests are typically done?
This is something where I can tell a little bit. I think it is clear that as soon as a customer starts his own design in fuel cells or batteries, battery cells, battery modules and battery packs, this is the time where we come to the customer or the customer is in need of testing stations. That means as soon as a development is starting, the customer will need testing stations, but also later on during the production and of course after a production. For example, especially in the automotive industry, every battery has to be checked after production, and all data which are produced must be stored and must be documented. So that means from the beginning on in the development until the end of the development, end of the production line, you will find our testing stations.
Okay, that's a really wide range, and you developed a software to handle these stations, and it's called Test Work for automated operation and the visualization of complex battery or fuel cell test stations. Since when this software is on the market, and what is it needed for?
It starts with the name of Fuel Work. It starts in the year of 2002, and we started to produce and develop our own software. And then in the year 2012, we give it a new name. The last name is Test Work. And yeah, we are still in contact with the customer, with each customer. They give us feedback about our software, and we try to improve our software. And with the information with the customer, we know in every minute what is needful, what the customer needs, and so we can make this test work software also unique. And we developed this in our house by our own, and so this is quite very, very important and strong unit. And yeah, this year in October we will release Test Work 10, which is really, really important step for us, and hopefully it will be great for the customers as well.
I think it's very important what Sebastian said. Test Work, our automation software, is just one part of a test stand. And I think I can say we are very proud that we have all this development in our house. That means we have the mechanical design, electrical design, electronical design, and we have many sophisticated software engineers which look for the test work software. The test work software, as Sebastian has said, is always updated. We have an ear to the customer. We know what the customer needs, and we, as I said, have the departments which can realize the customer wishes. Also with test work, if you see test work as the software at an end-of-line station, this is something which we can modify to the customer needs. For example, if he just wants to have another graphical user interface, we can realize this. So that means not only with the test stands, but also with our software, we are the company which can deliver customer-specific design to the customer.
Okay, so you are very flexible with this interface. And now my question is, in how many languages this interface exists already, or do you want to implement it in several languages?
Well, the standard is that our software is in German and in English, but those interfaces you can use every language you can imagine. So if the operator is working at the end-of-line test station, he can create his own test work interface and use his own language. Yeah.
I think it's also important to say that our software and our test stands is not a black box. So that means as soon as you produce and create data, we are very open to deliver all this information to the customer. And our mechanical interfaces, they can be connected to the customer network or to the customer interface. And as I said, also with our software department, we develop interface languages to be able to communicate with the customer network.
Okay, and luckily we are exactly close to your booth, and I see all the time your FuelCon elevator there. Maybe can you give us some example for test routines?
You know, this is quite very different. I think a little bit we have to divide between testing routines in the research and development area and testing routines in the end-of-line area. For the end-of-line area, well, every testing routine is discussed with the customer and realized in our company. Testing routines, for example, in the fuel cell business, in our test sense, can be short time tests where you can write your own scripts and define what you want to test, and you can define the environment of the fuel cell. But also in the R&D phase, you can create scripts for testing fuel cells and batteries which run over several weeks or even months. And in this case, it is, of course, important to have a very safe software. And if you see the end-of-line software and the end-of-line scripts, this is totally different. This is, as we have created the software, a software which can run fully automated. So the worker just have to press the start button or the stop button, and the software does the rest, does all the tests which are defined before with the customer.
Okay, and again to the safety you already mentioned in the description, especially on your site and on your papers, you emphasize an intensive quality management and the most safety standards that you can deliver. Why do you think this is such a big argument, safety?
Well, I think, you know, as still people are working on the test stands, safety is a very important matter. That means all of our test stands, they will get the CE certification. This is clear. But also we are ready to discuss additional safety features together with the customer. So our engineers have very much experience with different hazard levels. We can realize all hazard levels, but we discussed together with the customer before which hazard level is really needed. But once again, safety is so important, and we realize all the safety features what is needed.
Okay, great. This year, in January 2018, you dispatched 4 system test stations for a major project in fuel cell testing for electronic vehicles. Really interesting. And can you tell us more about this project and which customer-specific requirements had to be realized?
Yeah, in this project we had 2 big test stations for full stack up to 200 kilowatts, and we had 2 test stations for fuel cell systems up to 200 kilowatts. So yeah, for automotive industry, for the car industry, you can test there the applications, and it was also for us very, very important. We learned a lot, and yeah, for example, we had test station with climate chambers, and then we have to integrate some shakers and tilt units into this climate chambers. And yeah, I wouldn't say this is something new, but in those power range and with such a dynamic test station, it was hard work for us, but at least we got a really, really good product, and the customer now can start or already starts this project.
Wow, and can you explain the climate chamber? I did not hear that yet. What is a climate chamber and how big is it?
Well, the climate chamber is about 3 times 3 meters and 3 meters high, and yeah, you can simulate the environment up or down to minus 40 degrees Celsius, as here in the middle of Europe. As yeah, it's a little bit too low, but well, in the cold of Siberia. So also you can go up to 50 to 60 degrees, and then you, with a tilt unit inside, you can make driving cycles, driving up the hill or down, and see what is the behavior of the fuel cell stack or fuel cell system. And of course, the cold start, how long it takes us to get full power of the fuel cell.
And is this station already installed and are the tests already running now?
As far as I know, the test station is already at the customers. I don't know if they already start the production, but yeah, I think he's ready right now. He's ready to do this.
Okay, let's. And by the way, are there questions from the audience? One question.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really am interested because I know from the automobile industry that they're doing much less testing but much more simulation. So are you also into that topic of simulation of the behavior of fuel cell? That would be interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this question. Very important. Yes, we do not only deliver testing stations for fuel cells and batteries, but also, as we call it, emulators. That means if a customer wants to test his drivetrain, of course he has to simulate a fuel cell or a battery. And also here we deliver the devices which do this job. This is also one more part of our product portfolio.
Thanks. Now let's end up with a little bit an outlook. Where are the markets of the future in your personal view? I mean, looking on your recent orders or your recent test stations, do you think Europe or even Germany will lead the further development and production capacity of fuel cell productions?
Well, for fuel cells, in the last 2 years, we get a lot of requests from the Asian market. The batteries get a little bit lower requests, and now the fuel cell market is increasing in China especially. But in Germany as well, we've got more and more requests for fuel cell end-of-line testing. So this is quite at the beginning, but yeah, we are in contact with the customers, and I think that many OEMs, especially here in the car industry here in Germany, will also produce in China with partners there. And yeah, so I think you can't really say, okay, Germany will be the leader or so, but I think we have worldwide activities also in the United States. So yeah, for me it's quite hard to say.
I think it's also important to say that if you deliver into the automotive industry, you do not only to deliver to plants in Germany or to plants in Europe, because every passenger car OEM is producing in Asia and in the US. So that's important that you are globally also present.
Okay, so FuelCon is globally present and present here also, of course, directly behind our public forum. You have a question? Yes? Okay, we have time for one last question.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I'm from China. We are a fuel cell integrator. So I want to ask a question. Do you have your testing station? Can your testing station fulfill the Chinese regulations and certifications? Thank you.
Did you understand?
No.
Can you repeat, please?
Okay. Can your testing station fulfill the Chinese regulations?
Okay. Ob wir die chinesischen Regularien erfüllen.
Do you mean the Chinese conditions or we? Okay.
Aber auch Regularien.
Yeah. We produce our test station to international guidelines, and yeah, as the word says, the international guidelines is also valid in China and in Germany. But when the customer or some Chinese customer have some specific guidelines or strict rules, we also can take care of this in our test station. This is no problem. So we always want to be sure that the customer gets a good test station and a safe test station to measure and to carry about everything you can imagine.
Till now, do you have any Chinese customers?
Yes, we have Chinese customers for batteries and fuel cells for the car industry and research institutes. And you can visit us at our booth, and we can talk about it in detail if you wish.
And many of our testing stations are already in China, so.
Yeah, okay, so time is up now. I would like to discuss you more about this interesting topic. I thank you very much both to come here and talk with us.
Thank you for giving us a chance for the introduction.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you in the audience to joining us. And yeah, this was the last talk for today. Please be here again tomorrow. We will start at 10 o'clock already with another interesting day full of interviews. And yes, you find both of them at FuelCon at the booth right there at the blue booth behind. Yes. And, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.